Am I the asshole for buying my cousin's dream car to prove a point? I, 26-year-old female, work a corporate job at a major fast food chain. I won't say the exact title, but I don't work at an office and spend most of my time visiting and coaching stores and associates. Because of this, my family seems to be under the impression that my job is a loser job, despite me making well over $150,000 a year. I think this perception is exasperated by the fact that I'm a frugal person who doesn't tend to surround myself with expensive things. My cousin, 34-year-old male, is a physics professor at a nearby state university and has done very little to hide the fact that he looks down on my job. From what I understand, we make similar money, but he's still paying off his doctorate degree. I didn't go to college. He has a much bigger house and mortgage and 2 kids. I'm child-free, meaning I have much more disposable income than him. For nearly 2 years, he's been talking about how he really wants a Tesla Model X and how he's slowly saving money for it. He'll joke about how much he wants it by describing how he sees it in his dreams in exquisite detail. Well, several months back while we were at my aunt's birthday party, my cousin made yet another backhanded joke about when I get a real job and make real money, and it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was so beyond done. I went back home immediately after the party and ordered a Tesla Model X for myself, exactly to the specifications he has described. So a couple of weeks ago, I picked up my car and brought it home. I didn't tell a single soul in my family I bought it, but yesterday I had plans to pick up my cousin's older son to babysit, and I knew it was finally time. I rolled up to my cousin's house in my shiny new Tesla that I washed and polished just that morning specifically for this meetup. Needless to say, cousin was pissed. He asked me all about it with strained enthusiasm and got visibly more angry the more he noticed it was just like the one he wanted. So, in what I would assume was retaliation, he tried to make a comment about, wow, it must have been an adventure and a half to find a bank willing to give you a loan like this. I laughed him off and casually told him I wouldn't know since I paid in cash, which is true. He questioned me, so I pulled up a picture on my phone of the title with my name on it. I think that was what broke him because he quickly ended the conversation and went back inside. But now I've been getting messages from his siblings saying how I'm a petty bitch. Even my mom said that she thought he was an ass, but I shouldn't have escalated just because I could. And while I adore my new car, getting back at my cousin wasn't as satisfying as I thought I'd be. So I'm really beginning to wonder if I am the asshole here. Am I?
Would I be the asshole if I didn't let my brother's girlfriend have her baby at my house? My brother has made a really weird request of me. He asked me if him and his girlfriend could use my house to give birth at. I didn't even know what he was getting to at first, but he explained to me that their apartment doesn't have a bathtub. It's too small for an inflatable pool, and it would attract too much attention if the birth was there, and neighbors will likely call the authorities. I have a house instead of an apartment, and I have a bathtub and more room than them. My brother thinks I should be honored about this. I thought this was so weird. I thought they would go to the hospital like is normal, but they haven't even used a doctor at all, so I have no idea how it works. And if the hospital would ask who their doctor is. My brother said I don't have to be there if I feel uncomfortable. I don't have a problem with them, but I just feel strange leaving them at my house. Would I be the asshole if I didn't let my brother's girlfriend have her baby at my house? My brother said I don't have to be there if I feel uncomfortable. I don't have a problem with them, but I feel strange at the thought of leaving 2 of them alone at my house. I'm a guy and I don't have kids, so I admit to no experience in this area. But I'm worried something could go wrong. Neither of them have medical training. My brother and his girlfriend have been saying how upset they'll be if I say no. And that the mother being comfortable is what's most important, and I shouldn't deny her that. They say I'll look like a jerk if I turn down the request because they don't have a backup house. I just don't get why they can't go to the hospital even though I have not said it. My mom also hinted one time to me that it would be a nice thing to do. Would I be the asshole if I didn't let them use my house for the birth? It makes me feel weird and uncomfortable.
Am I the asshole for waxing my 5-year-old daughter's unibrow? So my 5-year-old has a pretty thick dark unibrow that is very noticeable. Because of COVID, her preschool was online, therefore she was never bullied for having it. However, this past summer, her cousins came over to visit and many of them teased her for her unibrow. They'd call her countless names, and at just 5 years old, my daughter already thinks she is ugly. It breaks my heart because nobody, let alone a 5-year-old, should think they are ugly. I reassure my daughter she's beautiful and not to listen to her cousins, but my daughter still believes she is ugly. In a week, she is starting kindergarten, and I really do not want the bullying to get worse there. So yesterday, I took it in my hands to wax her unibrow. I didn't shape them or anything, just waxed the middle off to get rid of her unibrow. My daughter was elated, looking in the mirror and calling herself so pretty. It warmed my heart to see her so confident in herself, but I made sure to remind her she was beautiful both ways. When my husband came home, my daughter was so excited to show him her eyebrows. In front of her, he called her beautiful, but after she left, we had a huge fight. He said it was horrible of me to be subjecting my 5-year-old daughter to beauty standards. And at such a young age, I'm pushing it on her instead of telling her she is beautiful the way she is. And no 5-year-old should be waxing their eyebrows, and I'm pushing the mentality that she's only beautiful without her unibrow. And that my daughter is too young to know what she even wants, and she should have been able to make her decision to wax it off when she is old enough. I truly understand all the points he has made. However, my daughter has told me she wants to get rid of her unibrow, and I didn't want her to grow up with the bullying and teasing and blame me because I could have prevented it. So, am I the asshole for waxing her unibrow?
Am I the asshole for insulting my boyfriend's weight in front of his friends? My boyfriend is obese, and I'm a fairly normal weight. He was obese when I met him, and that wasn't a problem for me. He constantly talks about wanting to lose weight, but never actually diets or exercises. Idiot.
Don't you know how easy it is?
He has a tendency to offer me diet advice. For example, whenever I make a smoothie, he says, "You shouldn't drink those things. They're full of hidden calories." It's annoying because nutrition and fitness are actually big passions of mine. This past weekend, he and I met up with a few of his mates. At some point, the guys were talking about their experiences with online dating. My boyfriend said that he'd used Tinder, but he deleted it because there were, quote, too many desperate fat chicks. I genuinely saw red for a second and just blurted out, "You're going to criticize fat chicks?
You fat piece of shit."
He texted me the next day to say that it was incredibly rude and disrespectful to comment on his weight. I agree it was rude of me to call him out in front of his friends, but I also think that what he said was obnoxious and borderline sexist.
Am I the asshole for ditching my date at the restaurant? Before anyone thinks this is fake, let me assure you I wish it was, and I'm in shock. I just recently went on a date with a girl last Tuesday. We met at the gym and I had a crush on her for a while and finally struck up a convo and asked her out. I booked us at a nice Korean restaurant that has Korean barbecue stations. We go to our table and it has a huge grill with a fire on it, and she instantly asked what this is. I brushed it off and explained to her, and she was like, "But why do we have to do all the work? Isn't that their job?" I explained to her that it's fun, but we could always order off the menu if she didn't want barbecue. But she said, "Just make them do it for us." Anne insisted on calling the waitress over and asking her to put the meat on the grill and demanded to be served after it was ready. Am I the asshole for ditching my date at the restaurant? This elderly Korean lady had to shuffle between tables and come and flip the meat and serve her plates. At this point, I'm super embarrassed and seeing red flags like crazy. I'm Indian, so I'm kind of used to the whole servant master attitude thing because it's big in India, but I'm not a fan of it and I thought it was weird here in the States. But I wanted to see the date to the end, and yes, shamelessly enough, I was hoping for some adult time. At the end of the meal, she asked for dessert. I agreed and asked to see the menu. The waitress comes over and gives the menu and hands it to her. She says, "My God, this place is a nightmare and all these useless immigrants, she's white, come into this country and don't even work and eat up our tax dollars. Are they even legal?" She said it loud enough that people heard her. Am I the asshole for ditching my date at the restaurant? She said it loudly enough that a nearby table of people of color in their 20s started giving her dirty looks and whispering to each other. She notices this and then says same goes for these insert blank for people of Pakistan. At this point, my jaw dropped. I'm Indian and she said this in front of me. She saw my expression and went, "Oh no, I don't mean Latinos, they're fine. I love Mexican food." So it seemed that she thinks I was Latino. My birth country never came up as I speak with an American accent. She used a racist word against my own countrymen in front of me. So we get the dessert, I get up to use the bathroom, pay the bill with a good tip, and walk out the door. I blocked her and I'm even thinking of switching gyms, but I'm just gonna go in the morning.